Between Cop Joe, Nurse Joe, and Rockstar Joe, which one of the Joes would you be?
Cop Joe. Cop Joe lives at home. His mom still cooks dinner for him. It's like amazing ziti. I don't know. They're all different.
Hi, I'm Rose. I'm the Xfinity Kids and Music Editor, and I'm sitting here with James Wolk from Ordinary Joe. James, how are you? Is it James or Jimmy?
Jimmy. You can call me Jimmy.
Okay. Ooh, I feel so special. Jimmy, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm well. I'm really excited to be sitting here with you because I watched the pilot and I'm so intrigued. It's like this multiverse, choose your own adventure situation.
Ever wonder if your life could have been totally different? That one choice could change your whole life? What could it have been?
I found it really interesting that you have similar life experience to Joe. So I wanted to ask, what's something from your own life that you feel ran parallel to this character that you were able to pull from?
Well, I think, like, chronologically speaking, I definitely felt when I graduated from college that I was being pulled in a million different directions and just my interests were taking me in different directions. And I knew that acting was my love and what I wanted to pursue, but I was so unsure about it. You know, I felt like, can you really do this? And Joe has that conundrum when he's graduating about if he should take a path that's more paved and more steady, which he does. Ultimately, he becomes a police officer following in his father's footsteps in one of the lives. For me, I applied to grad school and just felt like maybe pursuing acting is a little too crazy for me. But I stuck to my guns, and like Music Joe, you know, I followed my dream of the arts, and you know, it was an amazing journey. Music Joe is like Bono famous, okay? So you can't tango with that. So, you know, but so I do feel, though, as an artist and as a performer, I feel akin to Music Joe. And then Nurse Joe makes a totally different choice, but he's the only one in the story who has a son. He's a father.
Can you believe we made him?
At least we did one thing right.
I became a dad in the last 4 years. I have a son and I have a daughter. My wife and I are just hopelessly devoted to them. And so I feel that I relate to that in Nurse Joe.
I'm glad that you brought up, you know, you being in college, because I read that you considered studying medicine before going into theater. What made you switch?
I was just talking about this with my nephew because he's in school right now. He just started his freshman year of college, and he's thinking about, he's taking pre-med classes. And he said, well, what made you decide to choose acting over medicine? And I don't really have a good answer. Like, I feel like at the time I was very interested in medicine. And I don't know what tipped the boat for me. I think my love of acting, probably. Just my love of acting, given the choice, if someone said, what do you want to do? I probably would have said an actor. So I just followed that gut instinct. But I was pre-med for my first 2 years at the University of Michigan.
That's crazy. I feel like that's a lot of similar paths to anybody that's going into college, because that certainly was mine. And then, you know, you go through this quarter life crisis and you're like, okay, where do I go from here, right?
Where do you go from there? And so I think the show is cool because whether you're an adult who is 10, 15 years, 20, 30 years past that college decision, 40 years, whatever, and you kind of reflect back on what an exciting time that was and how your choices really shaped your life, or whether you're 18, just starting college and thinking about those choices. Like, for all of us, that is a fulcrum point in our lives. You know, it's a tipping point when we make that kind of a choice after school or when we're in our early 20s. And I think the show will be cool for audiences to see, okay, this is what happens, at least to this guy, when he makes those three different choices.
I want to go to Rockstar Joe for a second.
Rockstar Joe.
Rockstar Joe. I love it. You have great vocals, by the way. And I read that that's you singing. And I wanted to know, what's your go-to karaoke song?
Oh, well, it's a good question. You know, I'm a true baritone. I'm not a tenor. Anytime I've tried to sing like a tenor, it's a disaster because I can't hit those notes and I end up screaming. So that's not good for any. Or I go prematurely into a falsetto and it's like totally not on the same strength as my chest voice. And it gets, so if there's a baritone song, my go-to would maybe be like That's Life by Sinatra. I've had some success with that song.
Love that.
It's got to be in that register.
I love that it's also classic timeless? Is that the genre that you typically stick to when you sing? Or wolf baritone, but like
when I sing, or I sing like 1960s doo-wop to my kids when I'm rocking them to sleep or putting them down their bed. But I will say with the show, they set me up with this amazing vocal coach, Jeff Morrow, and he added like 2 notes to the high end of my register through his exercises and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So, and that's kind of more rock. Like you are going for more power ballads. You're singing songs that push your voice. And it's been so cool to be able to hit those notes and carry songs that they're writing these beautiful songs. And that's not necessarily what I've been accustomed to singing like throughout my life. So it's been really cool to learn to be able to build my instrument. It's because it's like an instrument, as I've come to learn.
Sticking to music. So in that first episode, there's the bar scene that you're filming and you have to play Piano Man. I wanted to know, did you know every word to Billy Joel's Piano Man before that, or did you have to like cram?
This is funny. So I thought I knew every word to Billy Joel's Piano Man, and I realized that I knew like 30% of the words, and I would repeat verses and make up words. So it just goes to show how inaccurate my own process is. I was like, I know that song, and then I knew nothing, and I had to study the song, but it came quick because that's like one of those songs we all know really well.
No, I know that feeling because you know the lyrics, or you think you know, but you really just know the hook and maybe a verse, and you just repeat.
I was like, "Sing me," and I was, "What's the next word? What's the next line?" Like just stuck in the middle of it. Yeah, which is not something you want to do on set when you're like everyone's waiting for you to sing. You want to have your stuff ready.
No, absolutely. So unrelated to the show for a minute, as I was doing some research on you, your Twitter blurb says, "I do a great Marty McFly. Are you willing to demonstrate?" What does that mean?
A great Marty McFly? It's an impersonation of Michael J. Fox when he played Marty McFly, the beautiful film Back to the Future, which was my favorite film growing up. And I think what happened is I just watched the film so many times. When I was like 7, 8, 9, I literally memorized like his mannerisms. And so, it's kind of like I do like, that's your line, George. That's your line. Or like, hey, Doc, what happens if I run into my future self? So like that's my Marty McFly impersonation.
I love it. My son is 11 and we introduced him to Back to the Future a few years ago. And that plays constantly in our house.
Is he liking it? Is it play with the new generation? Good. Because I can't wait to introduce it to my son. He's a little young.
Absolutely. Like I feel there are a lot of films that aren't they don't make them like that anymore. So we're going to introduce you to some of those classics. Like besides Back to the Future, what do you look forward to sharing with your kids?
Oh my gosh. Well, I bought him a Back to the Future book, like a children's book that like breaks it down like it's like a children's novel. So that was cool. But things that I'm looking forward to sharing with him, this is like, I don't know, this might be a boring answer, but we're all living in Atlanta together right now, filming the show. And in front of where we're staying is like this little forest with these paths. And it's been amazing to just go like, hey, buddy, we get up, we walk down the path and we're like in nature. So like we're by trees, we're just like in nature. And we haven't had that experience to have it that accessible to us. And so I love just kind of watching him take in that environment and like just kind of, I don't know, I want to see him just take that kind of stuff in. I love that stuff as a kid. So it's fun to watch him take that in.
It's amazing to live life a second time through your child's eyes. The wonderment.
The wonderment. It's funny though, because with my daughter, she's 2, everything's so new for her. You know, she's like, is that your hair? Like my hair is interesting to her. Like she's just unbelievable.
I love your impersonation of your daughter.
Yeah. It's for some reason, my daughter's Southern in the impersonation. And yeah.
Okay, Jimmy. Back to the show. So Ordinary Joe airs Monday nights on NBC between Cop Joe, Nurse Joe, and Rockstar Joe. Which one of the Joes would you be?
I would want to be Cop Joe because Cop Joe lives at home, doesn't have to pay rent. Okay. There's no rent being paid by him. His mom still cooks dinner for him. So like, he doesn't have to we do these great chicken ziti nights in the Cop Joe world and like all the family comes over and we have like an amazing, there's a real culinary chef on set who cooks the ziti dinner because we really eat dinner during these scenes. It's like amazing ziti And we're always hanging out in this like cozy Queens apartment. It just seems, I don't know. I mean, I think as the series goes on and I get into like more of like the nitty gritty of the cop world, I may not feel that way. But I think that that's like a fun aspect of his life. I don't know. They're all different. I don't know. It's a hard question because then there's like, Nurse Joe has this great son, and then Music Joe plays great concerts. By the way, life isn't great for all of them. They have like some really bad stuff in all of their lives too, which I think is really important because I think the show would be unrealistic and probably unwatchable if everyone was just like everything great happens in every life. Like there is a lot of strife in all three of these lives. They all have they've been through a lot of hardship, each of them in their own way. And I think that's important for people to see because that's life, and I've learned that as I've gotten older, like that's unavoidable. Like hardship is unavoidable. So it's like, how do we deal with that? How do we digest that? How do we keep on keeping on? And I think that's what's cool about the show because you see that actualized.
I love that. Yeah. Jimmy, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Ordinary Joe, I can't wait to see what's in store for us. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you. Great to talk to you.
It's only natural to wonder, what if? Sorry, this is yours. I'm Joe.
I'm Amy. And what is it that you want to do?
I'm going to be the next Billy Joel. Guy can dream, right? What if I asked out that girl I just met? I love you, Amy.
I love you, Joe. Kill it.
It's good to be home!
It's freaking Juilliard. You're like my superhero for getting in. Come to the beach. I need to tell you something.
What if I married my best friend?
Sorry, we had 3 code blues and the hospital was short-staffed.
Can you believe we made him?
At least we did one thing right.
Joey, come on, we gotta go!
What if I followed in my father's footsteps?
Officer Joe Kimbrough was a true hero.
I'm proud of you. Your dad would be proud of you, too.
What if you could see the roads you didn't take?
Don't look back.
You were literally living the dream.
I just want to be ordinary Joe.
My biggest dream is to be a dad.
What if we're not meant to have kids?
I know it was my idea to work nights, more money for Christopher's health care, but I just want my best friend back.
There you are.
You don't want to be an old dad, Joe. TikTok, that's all I'm saying.
Uncle Frank, just help me out here.
Have we met before?
We bumped into each other at graduation 10 years ago. I kind of wanted to ask you out. I really wish I had.
To the piano man!
So you ever get that feeling that one choice could change your whole life?